Hello, YouTube, and the shotgun nerfs shall blot out the sun. Then we shall close quarters in the shade. But holy jumping narwhals, that's a lot of shotgun nerfs. Okay, so considering the new release of an LMG and the recent shotgun nerfs, now's a good time to review the TR Heavy Assault Chaingun, since it would normally compete for effectiveness with LMGs and shotguns. Now, most people will probably want to use the chaingun because it's a chaingun, and therefore having style points. But the question is, if you actually use the chaingun, will it set you back? Because you can't just use a weapon that looks nice if it's totally ineffective. If you're going to use the chaingun, you expect it to be rewarding, meaning you need moments like this. And this. So the question is, can the chaingun offer you triple max kills as often as, say, a light machine gun? Having epic Rambo moments is all well and good, but can you really do something you couldn't have done with any normal LMG? Let's find out. Well, for starters, one big benefit of the gun is how quiet it is. The chaingun makes very little audio noise. While the chaingun cannot access a suppressor, most enemy players will react to the distinct audio of another faction's weapons fire and turn to shoot at you far more quickly than they would notice a little red dot on the minimap, especially if you're in a crowded area. While it does make enough noise to be noticeable to an enemy that's paying attention and recognizes the firing sound, it won't alert opponents like an alarm bell as other unsuppressed LMGs would. Now, most LMGs can also get a suppressor, which the chaingun cannot, but the chaingun doesn't need one as much as the other LMGs might. However, this benefit is mitigated because it also has lower projectile velocity than all the TR and NS LMGs. Now, it also lacks any ammunition selection and sights. The chaingun only has underbarrel attachments, so that means no night vision scope and no long-range scopes. You have the default zoom, and that's it. So if you are someone who uses a night vision scope a lot, that might be a problem for you. Your attachment options are an extended magazine or a laser sight. Now, this might not necessarily be a crippling problem. The chaingun has lower vertical recoil than any TR LMG, as well as the newly released NS LMG. However, horizontal recoil is a little less consistent. Still, I haven't found the recoil on the chaingun to be difficult to control. The chaingun seems to be usable at longer ranges, though not as effective as a normal LMG. Its accuracy isn't crippling. Now, the chaingun bullets do 143 damage, the same as all TR LMGs, as well as the new NS LMG, and fires at 800 rounds per minute, 50 RPM faster than the MSW and the T9 Carve. So it fires faster than all TR and NS LMGs. Naturally, fire rate automatically makes a weapon better in close quarters. The question is, what other effects take place that mitigate that benefit? Well, the first problem the chaingun has is spin-up time. It takes about half a second to charge before firing, and that's actually pretty big. It's enough for an enemy with a normal shotgun to fire twice. But since shotguns were nerfed, and a normal shotgun now does 804 damage if all 6 pellets hit, 402 if half hit, and 536 if 2/3 hit, the guy with a shotgun probably needs to be within 5 feet of you to kill you, and that's not even counting the heavy assault shield. Now, when it's firing, the chaingun does 1,906 DPS. Divide that by 2, it's 953 damage in the first second, and 1,906 damage for each second of continuous fire after that, coming out to 2,859 damage in 2 seconds, or 4,765 damage in 3 seconds. So once you're firing and you're on a roll, you outdamage any other LMG. However, you only get a 50 RPM bonus in return for half a second of charge-up time. Now, this charge-up delay happens every single time you want to fire the weapon. Even if you pause or repeatedly tap the fire key to spin up the gun, you gain the same delay before firing every time, even if you have the chaingun spinning. It will still give you the same firing delay as if it were being held still. Half of a second each time you fire in return for 50 extra RPM isn't a particularly good trade, and this is amplified because of the bloom issue. You know how your cone of fire widens as you hold down the trigger? Yeah, that applies to the chaingun too. The bloom for the chaingun is identical to the bloom of nearly all the other TR LMGs. If I plan to fire consistently at a target that's a good distance away, I need to pause every 25 bullets or so, about 2 seconds worth of continuous fire, to reset the cone so my shots aren't too inaccurate. This then couples with a half-second refire delay each time. So if we run the numbers for that, half-second charge-up plus 2 seconds, that gives us 3,812 damage every 2.5 seconds. The firing and refiring delay is a big problem here. Let's compare it to the 750 RPM LMG, the MSWR. The MSWR can also get a double laser sight, but no extended magazine and only has 50 bullets. We can also compare it to the T9 Carve, which all TR players start with, which has 750 RPM and 100 bullets, like the chaingun. Both have 1,787 DPS, but for a 2-second long engagement, that gives them 3,574 damage. The chain gun, counting the half-second charge-up time, has 2,859 damage. What about a 3-second fight? 5,361 for the LMGs, and 4,765 for the chain gun. 4-second fight. 6,671 damage for the chain gun, 7,148 for the LMGs. The rate of fire bonus the chain gun offers is too small. 50 RPM over the already large 750, in return for half a second every time you want to start firing, is not a fair trade. The chain gun is out-DPS'd by the other fast-firing LMGs, who can also pause to reset their cone of fire much quicker than the chain gun can, which in turn boosts their accuracy significantly and DPS in comparison. So at this point, we're looking at the luxury of not having to reload, or looking at more accuracy to give the chain gun an edge. Let's compare it to the double laser sight MSWR. So the chain gun is a little more accurate than the MSWR when firing from the hip, but the MSWR is significantly more accurate when aimed down the sights. However, the MSWR can access a double laser sight, whereas the chain gun can only access a normal rank 1 laser sight. So the chain gun doesn't win in accuracy. What about ammunition? Well, the T9 Carve S can also access a double magazine, like the chain gun can, as well as ammunition types and scopes, etc. That gun has the same damage per magazine if we're looking at extended magazine comparisons, 200 each. So let's run its DPS again. 3,326 versus 2,859 for 2 seconds, 4,989 versus 4,765 for 3 seconds, 6,652 versus 6,671 for 4 seconds. So it takes 4 seconds for the chain gun to out-DPS the T9 Carve S, and still assumes no resetting of the cone of fire. And at the 4-second mark, you're going to be pretty inaccurate, but let's try. So, similar trait again, the T9 Carve S is more accurate when aimed down the sights, but less accurate when hip-fired. A bit more less accurate than the MSW, but the punchline is the same. Both LMGs outdamage the chain gun, at least for the first 4 seconds, and can reset their cone of fire much faster, which will artificially make them more accurate. The MSW can get a double laser sight, and the T9 Carve S can match the extended magazine bonus. The chain gun is only more accurate when hip-firing and not being compared to a laser-sighted MSW, and only for the first 3 seconds or so. Additionally, hip-fire range would imply your opponent is relatively close by, which makes the half-second charge-up time all the more problematic. The chain gun does have very fast reload, matching the T32 Bull, and being faster than all the other TR LMGs, only being slower than the NS LMG, though due to its size it blocks off a good portion of your screen when reloading. I've killed a lot of people with the chain gun and done a couple impressive rampages, but I feel like that was more due to my heavy assault shield blocking bullets than the chain gun itself, and I think that other LMGs would be better. If you're going to use the chain gun, you are using it for style points. It's strongest when used in hip-fire range, but requires its long charge time and recharge time between firing. The weapon can be effective, and can grant some satisfying moments, but the weapon doesn't offer enough benefits to award a practicality edge. In my opinion, the chain gun needs a significant buff in fire rate, or a nerf to the spin-up time. Keep in mind the default TR pistol fires faster than the chain gun. You can get some glorious moments with it while hosing down groups of enemies while firing from the hip, and those can be very satisfying, but be aware that you are trading some stats for style if you want the chain gun. Thank you for watching my review of the TR Heavy Assault Chain Gun, and I'll see you next time. Later, YouTube.